Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're enjoying your time at the Cambridge Writer Festival so far. My name is Pari Malhotra, and my presentation is about a very important historical event that shapes today's political society: the suffrage movement. In particular, the ones in the United States and the United Kingdoms. The impact modern feminist movements make, and will continue to do so, made me think back to these critical moments within women's rights history. The courage and resilience of the suffragettes inspired numerous texts which allowed the hidden stories to be shared worldwide. Specifically, I've chosen the Suffragette movie and the poem Song for Equal Suffrage by Charlotte Pankins Gilman to examine this movement further. While both the texts focus on the same movement, the Suffragette film fulfills this purpose to a greater extent. Song for Equal Suffrage, a poem in Charlotte Pankins Gilman's collection, Suffrage Songs and Verses, is from the perspective of the U.S. women's suffrage movement and was published in 1911. Just a year prior, in 1910, Washington women voted for the first time, and the Californian suffragettes successfully lobbied the California state legislation to put the questions, should women be allowed to vote, before the voters. These events, highlighting the bravery and dedication of the suffragettes, inspired the author to create a poem that would further encourage these selfless women to never lose hope. Many language forms and features are used throughout the poem to showcase the themes of hope and inspiration, which were very important during the suffrage movement. For example, in the lines 1 and 2 in the first stanza, juxtaposition is used to compare the dull past and the bright future ahead of everyone, giving faith that all inhuman activities have been left in the past and tomorrow will bring good news for votes for women. The movement is represented by a sunrise, a symbol for new beginnings, suggesting a positive future. Repetition is used when saying that the light coming from the prosperous start will grow and grow, giving power to persuasion. All these techniques combined give suffragettes motivation to continue the fight as they have a vision for a better future. The poem convinces them that just like a sunrise, suffrage for women is inevitable and achievable. This idea of optimistic hope links with the overall theme of the suffrage movement, as all suffragettes required faith to stay determined to their goal and never give up despite all the criticism they faced. Mrs. Gilman uses exclamation marks to enhance statements and express high modality. This helps grab the reader's attention and generate a sense of urgency and empowerment, further spreading inspiration. For example, in stanza 2, line 1, exclamation marks reflect strong emotion as the reader stresses on the line and therefore knows that they are a part of something important and must keep going. The outcry shows the opinion of the author and brings vocal meaning to the text, which helps the audience connect with the author's perspective and make their belief stronger. Exclamation marks help audience pay extra attention to statements and intake the enthusiasm presented to them. Structure is cleverly used to outline her purpose and message. By isolating a statement at the end of each stanza, the themes of the suffrage movement are clearly showcased, and women are also compared to brave soldiers who march on until they succeed. Being placed equal to men in a patriarchal society serves suffragettes great importance, as it is the purpose of the whole movement. Freedom, wisdom, peace, and love all highlight what the suffrage movement stands for, and that it is God's will that these women become brave soldiers who march for their right. By using juxtaposition, symbolism, repetition, exclamation marks, and structure, Song for Equal Suffrage encourages suffragettes to keep fighting for their rights by giving them faith and motivation. Charlotte Pankins Gilman was inspired by the selfless suffragettes of America and created a poem which fulfills her purpose of inspiring others and giving them hope for the future. Even today, many people in Britain are unfamiliar with the historically important suffrage movement, as it is not being taught in schools and has been overly sanitized. The purpose of the 2015 Suffragette movie, written by Abby Morgan and directed by Sarah Gavron, was to unearth the stories of these lower-class working women and allow viewers to learn about the hardships suffragettes went through to earn the right to vote. This film gained significant attention and connection with the masses, as in 2015, females in Saudi Arabia voted for the first time. Sexism was exposed in Hollywood, and many countries opted a gender equal cabinet. The use of various rhetorical devices allowed the film to successfully convey its message of a patriarchal society and the violence women had to suffer through. For example, Mr. Taylor and the other men in the laundry are shown taunting Mrs. Miller for being selected to give a testimony. Mr. Taylor, who has been shot from a low angle to show power, says, "Leave the vote to us men, huh, Mrs. Miller, and we'll leave you to the home." At which the other men laugh in agreement too. This shows the ideology of men and the belief that women shouldn't have a voice and be confined to the role of a homemaker. Suffragettes, especially working women, were subjected to these taunts and had to rise from the oppression in order to continue their fight. This unjust atmosphere further encouraged suffragettes to fight for their rights and earn the respect they deserve through gaining the vote. This scene affected the audience as they were shown the reality of what women experienced for partaking in the movement, further allowing the viewers to sympathize with the women who lived in these disgusting situations. Hunger strikes were a common form of protest among suffragettes while they were in jail. To combat this, authorities force-fed many women, which resulted in severe health concerns, as the food was painfully poured into their stomachs. As Emmeline Pankhurst, founder of the Women's Social and Political Union, said, "Sickening scenes of the violence took place almost every hour of the day, as the doctors went from cell to cell performing their hideous office. The physical pain of the trauma was rightly portrayed in the film when Maud suffered from the torture as diegetic sounds were paired with suspenseful non-diegetic music to show realism. Shouting and pain could be heard, which further portrayed the realistic, excruciating experience. Close-up camera angles were used to create discomfort among viewers so they can understand the daunting environment and sympathize with the victims. By showing forced feeding and the bullying women faced, the creators fulfilled their purpose by portraying the harsh lives so viewers can appreciate the sacrifices of suffragettes. Although both texts portray the suffrage movement, the Suffragette movie showcases a wide range of themes that explore the movement at a deeper level than the Song for Equal Suffrage poem. In contrast to the Suffragette movie, the poem was written at the time of the movement and was used to inspire women. This factor doesn't allow the modern audience to see the harsh realities of the time and what women were suffering through. By seeing a visual representation and Maud's inner and external battle, the audience has a better insight of the suffragettes. The film used many rhetorical devices to transport the viewers into the time and allows them to become emotionally attached to the characters. This is something the poem doesn't achieve. Although the poem shows the faith and motivation required for suffragettes to succeed in the movement, it lacks the life story and connection the modern audience feels with the Suffragette movie. The unique content and purpose of the texts results in them depicting the suffrage movement from different perspectives and therefore gaining diverse reactions from the audience, from motivation to attachment. Thank you all for listening. I hope you gain insights behind the context, purpose, and literary techniques for the Suffragette movie and the Song for Equal Suffrage. Both the texts portray the significant suffrage movement and feel their unique purpose of either motivating suffragettes or providing the modern audience with unheard stories. Overall, the Suffragette movie is more relevant to the modern audience as it does a better job at portraying the topic by showcasing multiple themes.